Well, guys, it looks like the NBA dynasty of the Golden State Warriors might be officially over as they officially lost to the Toronto Raptors in Game 6, and the Toronto Raptors and the country of Canada can now celebrate as they are now NBA champions. Of course, this is something that is a long time coming. You know, Kawhi Leonard, after all the stuff that he dealt with in San Antonio, felt the vindication of going to the Toronto Raptors and finally acquiring an NBA championship without the helps of Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and many others on that Spurs team. But not only was this a Kawhi Leonard moment, this was also a Kyle Lowry moment, as we know that Usai Ujiri and Kyle Lowry had a very, personal beef with each other because of the trade of DeMar DeRozan to San Antonio. Kyle Lowry, he was a guy that just wanted to be, with this brand. He wanted to know what the direction of, because he wasn't happy at the moment. He wasn't happy where the team was going. He wasn't happy with the way everything was. But he said, you know what? Usai Ujiri and Kyle Lowry, they decided to mend fences. They got together. They figured everything out. And now they are NBA champions. Now, of course, when you talk about this series, with every NBA title, it feels like fans are now starting to put asterisks next to each one. Of course, the one that LeBron James won in 2016 was, of course, the Draymond Green calling LeBron James the B word, or the kicking incident. I mean, there's just a lot of things like that. And even last year's final, LeBron James needed help, and of course, there's a lot of it. Steph Curry was tired. There's a lot of things that are going into asterisks. And the asterisk that I would say, if you wanted to put one on this, was of course the injuries to not only Kevin Durant, but Klay Thompson. And I think that the bigger injury to the Golden State Warriors was not Kevin Durant, but I think the biggest one was to Klay Thompson. Historically, Klay Thompson has had a great Game 6, and he was on the verge of going on another great Game 6 greatness. He had 30 points at the time before he got hurt, trying to go for a breakaway dunk. Obviously, it wasn't a malicious intent by Danny Green. I hope Warriors fans aren't trying to get mad about that. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't anything that Danny Green was going under. Unfortunately, when you put pressure on one leg like that, instead of landing on 2 feet, that's potentially what's going to happen, right? You're putting all the force and the velocity of you going for that dunk and putting it on one leg is definitely not good for your knees at all. So I think that we can't blame Danny Green for that at all. But nevertheless, Klay Thompson was a big factor as to why I think the Golden State Warriors could have carried the momentum to Game 7 and potentially win a Game 7 if it went that way. But, it is what it is. You can't, it's like you can't, almost is only good in hand grenades and horseshoes. I mean, that's the only way that you can do it. And also the Kevin Durant injury. Unfortunately, that's what it was. He decided to play. He saw that the risk and the reward, he decided he outweighed it. He thought that the reward was greater than the risk, and look what happened. Unfortunately, that's what happened. The injury happened, and that's the asterisk that you can put if you want to put an asterisk next to the title of the Toronto Raptors. But I think that you can't put an asterisk next to any of these titles because the Toronto Raptors did their thing. They obviously beat a very good 76ers team. They beat a Milwaukee team. I mean, there's a lot of teams that the Toronto Raptors went and faced, and they beat them. We know that the Kawhi Leonard game winner against the 76ers was something epic. And then Pascal Siakam also doing a great job in the first game of the NBA Finals, getting his buckets. I mean, there's just a lot of things that we can look at in this NBA Finals and just in this NBA playoff series from the Raptors that just kind of goes to show you why the Raptors, every champion is lucky. I mean, you always have breaks, right? I mean, with the Golden State Warriors for multiple years, right? It was the point guard. He was always hurt, so Steph Curry had an easier matchup with whatever guard he was guarding. And now, of course, you're having an easier matchup because the Toronto Raptors now don't have to face Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson and can really focus the defense on going on Steph Curry. So, of course, like I said, the asterisks, the whatever, the excuses, whatever you want to say about it, nevertheless, the Toronto Raptors did their thing. They got the breaks that they needed to, and they ended up being NBA champions, and you can't take anything away from them. The Toronto Raptors have done everything. Kyle Lowry, like I talked about at the beginning, his beef with Usai Ujiri. And then, of course, you had Danny Green, who also came from the trade. You had Marc Gasol, who came mid-season. Although he only gave you 3 points, he was very effective, getting you 9 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, he's a big man that's really more of a passing big man. He's a guy that'll make more passes than he will shots. And obviously, he didn't play very well. And then we look at the Golden State Warriors. I think the biggest thing for the Golden State Warriors, in my opinion, was, of course, the fact that Draymond Green did not have a very good NBA Finals in Game 6. 8 turnovers is not going to cut it. Although he had 13 assists, 19 rebounds, 15 defensive rebounds, and 11 points. I really think that Draymond Green really affected them. I think what Chris Broussard told me, or what I've, not what he told me literally, but what I've heard from Chris Broussard was that Draymond Green was shooting 8% in the NBA Finals or in the NBA playoffs. That is definitely not going to cut it. I know Draymond Green isn't the scorer that he once was when he was, facing those Cavaliers teams, but at the same time, you have to be a threat, or you have to take those shots so they at least can respect it, and maybe they'll close out, and maybe Curry will be open on a three from a big setting a screen on it. I mean, that is just one of the things that you have to do, Draymond Green, and he didn't really do that very well in this playoff series, and he's one of the reasons why I think the Golden State Warriors really lost this series. Of course, we can blame Steph Curry going 3 of 11 on three-point land this game, and the excuses are starting to come up now of, is he tired? Unfortunately, those excuses they just can't buy it. I mean, Steph Curry just didn't do it when he needed to, and that's, it's okay. I mean, LeBron James didn't do it. Not everybody can be these great pantheon players. And of course, Steph Curry is a great player. I'm not taking anything away from Steph Curry. He's a great player, but unfortunately, it is what it is. He missed the shots that he needed to take. And now the Golden State Warriors dynasty, is it over? Is it? I want to ask you guys that in the comments down below. But the biggest question is going to be, and the biggest takeaways now from this are a couple of them, right? The first one, of course, is the Toronto Raptors. Are they going to be able to re-sign Kawhi Leonard to a long-term extension? Usai Ujiri is getting multiple offers from the Washington Wizards, from Woj. I heard that from Wojnarowski on Twitter. I mean, there's just a lot of things that will happen, and I don't know if the Toronto Raptors have the capability of keeping Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, the Toronto Raptors are going to be forever grateful that Kawhi Leonard gave them a championship, but it is what it is if he decides to leave and go to the Clippers. I think that they should just allow him to go and say, you know what? We're grateful, Kawhi. We're grateful that you gave us a championship, but now it's on us. We're going to see what we can do to make sure that we get to the next level and see what we can grow. And then the other thing is, now that teams like the Boston Celtics and the LA Lakers are going to take a gamble on Anthony Davis, we know that the Rich Paul, the agent for Clutch Sports of Anthony Davis, is saying, you know what? If he goes to the Boston Celtics, it's going to be a one-year rental. Are the Boston Celtics going to say, well, we saw what Kawhi Leonard did. Why don't we take the same risk and see if we can win an NBA champion? I mean, obviously, it looks like that Kyrie Irving is going to go to the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, I don't know if they have the pieces and what you have to give up, such as Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. I wouldn't give up Jason Tatum in my opinion, but it is what it is if you're going to. What is going to happen? Are the Boston Celtics going to get to the NBA Finals? I don't think so. I mean, if the 76ers can get their act together, if the Milwaukee Bucks can get their act together and sign some shooters, especially Chris Middleton as a free agent, what they can do with that is going to be the biggest question mark, because I think that this was just a one-year wonder thing with the Toronto Raptors. They obviously got very lucky with a very dysfunctional 76ers team, a very dysfunctional Milwaukee team, and also a very, or maybe not dysfunctional, but a very one-star show and the better star one in that matter. But now with the Boston Celtics also struggle with their own chaotic mess with Kyrie Irving and all that. To me, when I look at everything, I think it's a one-year wonder, and I don't think that it's going to be the right move, but we can talk about that in a later video, because now we have to move on to the Golden State Warriors. What do they do? Because we know that Klay Thompson's contract is up. We know that KD's contract, if he doesn't opt in, is up. What is Kevin Durant going to decide to do, right? Is Kevin Durant going to decide to stay and take all that money after he picked up that injury? Or is he going to decide, you know what, I want to go to Brooklyn. I want to go to a different team. That is going to be another question mark in this. And Klay Thompson as well. Does Klay Thompson stay? Does he say, you know what, I think I can be the number one guy? Because in my opinion, I think that Klay Thompson has the capability of being at least a number one guy. I know he's been a number two and a number three for so long. I think that he has the right makeup for a number one guy, because he plays defense. He's like a Kawhi Leonard light. I think that he kind of has that same sort of mentality. He shows some more emotion, and he has China Clay, Wazoo Clay, whatever you want to say. But I just think that his defense and his scoring ability makes him a great player, and I think that a team should take a risk and offer him the max. I think the other teams are going to offer max, or the Warriors are going to offer the max anyway, but I still think that you should take a risk on it. And those are the questions that I want to ask you guys, along with the one that I asked you: is the Warrior dynasty done? What is going to happen with the Anthony Davis situation? What is going to happen with the Golden State Warriors situation? I would love to know your guys' comments and opinions in the comment section down below. But anyway, guys, my name is Bernie, here on The Charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And guys, like I said, we are under construction right now. We are trying to figure out what is the best way to give you guys better content. I'm thinking maybe we go to Twitch and do some podcasting there. I would love to know what you guys think of that option. Or guys, what do you think of what this channel needs? What do you guys think that this channel needs needs in order to be successful. I want to make sure that this channel is here for a long time so we can have NBA discussions in a community where we can grow and become NBA fans. And you know, one day I would love to do a live stream watching these NBA Finals games. But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.